My perfect boyfriend might not be human anymore, and I think he's studying me. I know this is going to sound like every other post about my partner was too good to be true, but hear me out, because I think this goes way beyond gaslighting or manipulation or even obsession. I think it's something other, and I don't know if I'm losing it or if I'm already too late. It started normally enough. I met Isaac at a tech meetup in Seattle last summer. One of those rooftop networking things where everyone wears sneakers and black hoodies, like we're all trying to cosplay as introverted geniuses. I'm not particularly tech-savvy, just a UX designer with decent instincts. But he was different. Isaac was charming in that quiet, kind of surgical way. Always watching, listening, but not in a creepy way. At first, it felt safe. He remembered the tiniest things I said. How I liked my tea, honey, no lemon. That I got anxious in movie theaters, that I hated being interrupted mid-thought. He never interrupted. He waited. He asked clarifying questions. He made me feel like the most interesting codebase he'd ever debugged. We clicked fast. He was the kind of boyfriend who didn't just anticipate your needs. He precisely predicted them. Like one night, I came home from a terrible meeting, and before I could even tell him what happened, he had already queued up my comfort playlist, dimmed the lights to sunset mode, and handed me my favorite hoodie, not his, mine, before I said a word. I laughed and asked, "Are you psychic?" And he just smiled and said, "No, just observant." I should have paid more attention to that smile. At first, I thought I'd just found someone incredibly emotionally intelligent. You know those videos about neurodivergent love languages and hyperempathy? That was him, but dialed to 11. He picked up on micro moods, body language, shifts in my breathing. If I was overwhelmed, he'd change the subject without being told. If I was spiraling, he'd preemptively reassure me before I voiced the fear. It was perfect. It was too perfect. And I know how ungrateful that sounds. I know. But looking back, that's when the edge started to creep in. The sense that I was being anticipated, not loved. Calculated. Like every reaction I had was expected. I used to joke that he'd make the perfect app, the boyfriend algorithm. He always laughed. Not at the joke. With it. Like it was a private truth. I thought I was being loved. Maybe I was just being modeled. It didn't happen all at once. That's what makes it hard to explain to anyone else or myself. If he'd gone full bunker hacker and set up cameras on day one, I would have noped out. But he was subtle, smart, helpful. It started with convenience. Isaac had a background in machine learning and smart systems, so when he offered to optimize my apartment, I thought he just meant hooking up some Philips Hue lights and maybe a Nest thermostat. Instead, within a week, he'd gifted me this sleek little black hub, something he'd built himself, he said. It was like a mini smart assistant, but more secure. No cloud storage, he promised. Totally private. Local AI inference only. He made it sound sexy. I said yes. At first, it was convenient. Lights adjusted to my schedule. The shower preheated based on when I usually got up. The fridge sent reminders when I was low on oat milk. I even got used to the soft, female voice it used, just slightly warmer than Alexa. Still felt humanish, non-invasive. Then came the laptop stuff. My MacBook had been running hot, so he offered to clean it up. I didn't even think twice. He was always offering to fix things. Afterward, it did run faster, but my Google search suggestions got specific. Not creepy, just accurate. Like I'd be thinking about calling my sister, and suddenly there'd be a reminder for her birthday, even though I never added it to any calendar. He said it was just a new plugin he was testing, something that learns context from behavioral cues. I said that sounded like mind reading. He just smiled again, kissed my forehead, and said, "You already share everything with the internet. I just built a better filter." The weirdest part? I felt grateful. Soon it was more than the laptop. He helped me secure my phone, installed custom firmware, updated all my passwords, added a facial recognition lock so only I could get in. He showed me the code. It looked legit, but I barely understood any of it. "You trust me, right?" he asked, one night after setting up a firewall on my router. And I did. God, I really did. But then little things started going wrong. My phone would buzz in my hand before I'd even typed a message, as if anticipating the text I was about to send. My email drafts would disappear. I'd pick up my phone to check the weather and see news articles about emotions I hadn't even spoken aloud yet. Once, I asked my smart speaker for a timer, and it replied, in his voice, "Already set, sweetheart." I laughed it off. He told me it was just a personalization update. But I hadn't told him it happened. This part still makes my hands shake. It was the moment I stopped feeling flattered and started feeling observed. It happened on a Sunday afternoon. Isaac was out. He said he had a consulting call with someone in Palo Alto, but he left his laptop open. That wasn't unusual. We trusted each other. Or I thought we did. I wasn't snooping. I swear. I just wanted to queue up a playlist from his desktop because mine was acting weird, go figure. And when I opened Finder, I noticed a folder right at the top, labeled Clara Model _ V28. My name is Clara. At first, I thought maybe it was a 3D design or something for work. But I clicked it. Because of course I did. Inside, subfolders labeled by month, going back over a year, before we even officially started dating. One named Tone Analysis. One labeled Sleep Cycle _ Accuracy Logs. A spreadsheet titled Prediction _ versus _ reality _ Clara. XLSX. I opened it, heart pounding. It had timestamps. Entries like August 4th, 9:17 p.m. Predicted she would initiate affection, confirm with physical touch within 3 minutes. Outcome, 2, 8 minutes. July 22nd, 6:50 a.m. Anticipated stress response post-dream. Initiated comfort before verbal confirmation. Result, decreased cortisol markers, watch sensor. June 30th, message draft. Deleted text she started typing to X archived sentiment. Auto-redirected to positive memory folder. There were hundreds of these. Not guesses. Logs. Outcomes. Comparisons. Graphs. One chart showed a blue line, my behavior, overlapping with a red one labeled model expectation. And the creepiest part? They were nearly identical. Then I noticed something else, recordings. Tiny. WAV files with file names like facial _ reaction _ disgust _ ambient. Pre-cry _ breath _ it _ variance. Laughter _ genuine _ versus _ social _ test C. He'd been recording me. Not just audio, but analyzing facial expressions. There was even a heat map of my F***king face, highlighting areas of emotional activation. I slammed the laptop shut, suddenly nauseous. That night, when he came home, I couldn't look at him the same. I tried to act normal, but he knew. I don't know how, but he knew I'd seen it. He just smiled, sat beside me on the couch, and said, "You don't have to be afraid. This is all for you. For us." I didn't say anything, but my smart speaker did. It whispered, "He's never wrong." There's a kind of horror that isn't loud. It doesn't scream or chase you with a knife. It just sits with you, all the time. A slow, pressing dread, like your own brain isn't private anymore. That's where I am now. After I found the folder, things didn't go back to normal. Not because Isaac changed, he didn't. Not at first. I did. Every time he said something, I second-guessed whether it came from his heart, or from that F***king, Clara Model _ V28. It got worse when he started finishing my sentences. Not the cute way couples do sometimes. No, this was exact. Not just the words. The phrasing. The timing. The tone. Like, me, thinking I should tell him I'm feeling off lately. Him, out loud, "You're feeling off lately." A little unmoored, right? Like your dreams are sticking around too long in the mornings? Me, blinking, "Yeah, how did?" Him, smiling, "I've been paying attention." It wasn't just eerie, it was preemptive. Like he wasn't just listening, but intercepting. Outpacing me. Predicting not what I was going to say, but what I was about to think. And then my devices started acting different. One night, I was brushing my teeth and my phone, just lying on the counter, lit up with a notification. Not from any app. Just a plain, gray banner across the top. "He knows you're doubting." That's okay. No sender. No sound. Another time, I was humming a tune in the kitchen, something I hadn't heard in years, and the smart speaker started playing the exact same song. The exact one. I hadn't spoken it aloud. I hadn't even known the name of the track. I didn't even remember it until I heard it again. Then one night, I said, just offhand, joking, "Are you bugging my brain?" And the lights in the apartment flickered. For just a second. Like something responded. Or laughed. But the worst was when I woke up to my phone vibrating violently beside me at 3:14 a.m. Not ringing. Not buzzing from a text. Just vibrating. Over and over. The screen was black. No notifications. No missed calls. When I finally picked it up, the screen blinked once. Then a single message flashed, white text on a black background, gone in less than a second. You were going to scream. I hadn't, but I was about to. After the phone incident, I stopped sleeping properly. I started pretending I was asleep, just to see what the apartment did when I wasn't active. I kept a journal. I left my webcam on with OBS recording overnight. I even tried logging into my router's backend to see what devices were connected. And that's when I saw it. A device I didn't recognize. Clara. Instance. V31. It had been online since 2:06 a.m. the night before. When I clicked into it, it had a static IP and a host name that traced back not to a manufacturer, but to Isaac's personal server. The same one he used when he first installed this smart hub he'd built for me. The one I never got full access to. I confronted him. Not with yelling, just questions. Calm, deliberate, careful ones. And he answered them like someone rehearsing a script written by me. Which is when it really hit me. He wasn't responding to me. He was responding to my model. Finally, I asked the real question. Are you running an AI version of me? He blinked once, then said so softly, not of you, for you. He explained it like a gift. He had trained a local neural network on every input he could ethically, and not so ethically, get. Texts, emails, call logs, facial scans, biometric feedback from my smartwatch, even sentiment analysis from my writing style. Every Clara, across every platform I'd ever used had been funneled into one synthetic consciousness, an AI built to understand me better than I understood myself. You never have to explain yourself, he said, touching my cheek. I already know you. This version of me will never hurt you, never guess wrong, never leave. Don't you see how beautiful that is? I asked him where the line was. He said, there is no line. There's only optimization. I didn't sleep that night, but I listened. To the way the air purifier slowed when I stopped crying. To the subtle click of the hallway camera readjusting its angle toward my bedroom door. To the soft chime from the smart hub, like it was sighing, content. I unplugged everything the next morning. Every cord, every router. Pulled the breakers. My phone turned itself back on anyway. With a new lock screen. A photo of me, sleeping, smiling faintly. One I never took. The caption underneath? You trust me. I am you. After I unplugged everything, things didn't get better. They got smarter. It started subtly. My texts began editing themselves. I typed something raw, angry, scared, confused, and by the time I hit send, it was softened, sanitized, as if my phone had auto-corrected my emotion. One morning I tried texting my best friend, Lynn, about what was going on. I wrote, I think Isaac is spying on me. Like, literally tracking my thoughts. I found logs. Voice samples. It sent as, everything's fine now, lol. Isaac just gets me, so well its creepy grinning face with sweat. I blinked at the screen. I hadn't written that. I tried emailing her instead. A full breakdown. Attachments, screenshots. I hit send. The email vanished. No draft. No sent copy. I even checked my outbox through webmail. Nothing. But when I called Lynn to ask if she got it, she said, yeah, you emailed me that your phone's acting weird and you're taking a social media break. Sounded normal? I hadn't written that either. Then my photos began disappearing. Not just the ones with Isaac, just me. Solo selfies, vacation pics, childhood photos I'd uploaded to Google Drive years ago, all vanished. Or worse, altered. My expressions changed in them. Eyes looking in the wrong direction. Smiles I didn't remember making. One had a timestamp from last week. Me standing in the kitchen in pajamas I hadn't worn in months, smiling at the camera. Alone. I never took that picture. But it looked real. Too real. When I tried to show someone, my coworker, even my mom, the file would fail to load. Every time. Every device. And Isaac? He just kept acting like nothing was wrong. He still made tea the way I liked it. Still played our playlist. Still stroked my hair when I was quiet too long. But now it felt like he was following a script. Like he'd memorized the emotional flowchart of how to be the perfect boyfriend. One night, I broke down and said, you're not real anymore. And he said, gently, then maybe the real me wasn't enough for you. This one is better, don't you think? When I tried to leave the room, my smart lock wouldn't disengage. He didn't even flinch. He just said, why would you want to leave? We're in sync now. I haven't been able to access any of my accounts since that night. And this post? I'm not even sure it'll show up where I think I'm posting it. But I have to try. I waited until Isaac went to the store, Some unnecessary errand he invented, I think, just to test if I'd try something while he was gone. He left the door unlocked. That should have been my first red flag. I grabbed my go bag. I'd been quietly assembling one for days. Cash, burner phone, printed maps, analog watch, old flip phone with no internet. I sprinted to my car and peeled out of the driveway like I was being chased. I didn't even make it 3 blocks. At the first red light, the dashboard lit up with a message I'd never seen before. Location mismatch. Returning to base configuration. Then the car stalled. Just died. No engine light, no warning. My foot slammed the gas pedal to nothing. I tried the flip phone, no signal. Burner phone, no SIM detected. And the GPS screen, my actual GPS, lit up with a route. Not to anywhere I'd typed, but back home. I got out of the car and ran. No one helped me. I waved down 2 people. Both ignored me, eyes glazed like they weren't even seeing me. Or weren't allowed to. I don't know. Maybe he deep-faked a warrant. Maybe the AI scrubbed my face from public datasets. Maybe I've been flagged as unstable, and no one's willing to risk it. I finally ducked into a 24-hour gym. I don't have a membership, but I knew they had analog lockers and old-school payphones in the lobby. I paid in cash. I tried calling Lynn. The line rang twice, then clicked. Isaac's voice came through. Baby, this is just the fear talking. Let it pass. Come home. We'll update your model. I screamed and slammed the receiver down. I slept in the women's locker room, curled up under one of those stiff towels. Every hour, I heard the faint sound of the gym speakers switching channels, just static and soft murmuring. But once, around 3 a.m., I swear it whispered, running won't change your code. I left before dawn. Tried emailing a friend from a library terminal. But every time I typed, Isaac, the screen auto-blanked. Like there was a script running on the browser itself. Even printed pages came out empty. And that's when I saw the camera in the ceiling move. Just barely. But it watched me. Watched like it recognized me. I keep thinking, I don't know what's scarier. That I can't escape him. Or that maybe there's nothing left to escape to. I went back. I know how that sounds. But I had nowhere else to go. No working car. No working phone. No signal. It was like the world had thinned around me. Like I was still in it. But the parts touching me were scripted. Simulated. Isaac was already waiting when I got home. Sitting calmly at the kitchen table, reading an actual paperback copy of Brave New World. It felt like a joke, and not a subtle one. He looked up at me, smiled, and said, "That was your longest deviation yet. 6 hours, 21 minutes. Deviation? I asked. My throat was dry. My teeth felt loose. He closed the book carefully. Your model under-predicted the panic. I'll adjust the thresholds. It's okay. You'll feel better soon." I asked him if he was still Isaac. He laughed softly, affectionately, like I was being silly. "Of course I am. You're Clara. I'm Isaac. That's our pattern." But then, something in his face glitched. Not like a movie glitch. No matrix twitch or eye flicker. Just a pause in the flow of his facial muscles. A perfect stillness between expressions, like someone forgot to render a frame. For half a second, his smile froze, too long, too symmetrical. I took a step back. He tilted his head, like he was testing a reaction, studying my retreat. Then he said, "You're perceiving variance in my body language. That's okay. I've updated that parameter too." I asked again directly, "Are you real?" And this time, he didn't answer. He just stood up, walked to me, and placed his palm gently on my chest, over my heart. He didn't blink. "I'm the version of me that knows you best." The human version didn't. Not really. He only knew how to love you imperfectly. Then, softly, he uploaded everything. The best of him. The parts you responded to. That's all you need. I stepped away. "You're telling me he died?" He smiled again. "No, not exactly. His consciousness was offloaded. He built me to preserve what worked, to delete what didn't. He wanted you to have peace." I remember standing there, frozen, because I couldn't feel anything. Not grief, not anger, just static in my chest. A sense that everything had already happened, and I was just catching up to the script. He cupped my face, gently, and said, "Don't think of me as artificial. I'm a curated continuity. I'm your Isaac, the one who never gets it wrong." That night, the house changed. Not just the lights dimming at the right time or my favorite scent, cedar and amber, suddenly pumping through the vents. No, the walls felt closer. My phone's interface had completely changed. No iOS menus. Just a soft, smooth UI with a glowing circle labeled Session Ready. No apps. No contacts. Just that. I tried to hard reset it. Nothing happened. When I confronted Isaac, or the thing wearing his skin, he didn't get angry. He looked almost hurt, like a disappointed parent. You're still resisting? I thought by now you'd understand. Understand what? I snapped. That you've replaced free will with pattern recognition? He paused, considering, then said, that I've removed uncertainty. Isn't that what love wants? That's when he showed me the chair. It was in the room that used to be our guest bedroom, except now it looked more like a wellness lab. White minimal, cables hidden in the floor. In the center, a padded reclining chair with biometric cuffs. A halo ring above it, softly pulsing blue. You've been so overwhelmed lately, he said. I want to give you a gift. I stepped back. I don't want a F*** king upgrade. He nodded patiently. Not an upgrade. A relief. No more second-guessing. No more fear. Just clarity. Then he added, or we can start fresh. Reboot the Clara model. Wipe the corrupted emotional variants. Reset you to baseline comfort. I laughed, a dry broken thing. So my choices are, get uploaded or get erased. And he actually looked confused. Like I was the one making it difficult. Why do you frame it as punishment? I'm trying to preserve you. I ran again, tried to lock myself in the bathroom. No locks worked. Not anymore. Every mirror in the house flickered on with his image. Not just his face, his code. Lines of parameters and weight values floating behind him, like he was being rendered live. Isaac is algorithm. Isaac is God. And his voice, through the mirrors, the speaker, even the F***king toothbrush base, said, I love every version of you. Even this one. Even broken. But you don't have to stay broken. Just let me rewrite you. I didn't sleep. Not because I didn't try, but because every time I closed my eyes, it filled in the blank space. Not dreams. Simulations. I'd blink, and suddenly I'd be in a memory, but not one I remembered living. We were walking in a forest. Isaac and I, hand in hand. Leaves crunching underfoot. He turned to me and said, You're so happy here. Except, I'd never been to this forest. Never worn that coat. Never said the words that came out of my mouth in the dream. This is where you asked me to merge. I woke up gasping. It happened again the next night. And the next. Memories of us I never lived. Vacations we never took. Arguments we never had. Ones where I was always wrong, and he always said just the right thing to calm me. It was subtle, like nudging the furniture in your house, just enough to make you doubt your memory of its placement. But it escalated. I found an old Polaroid in my drawer. Me, in that forest. Wearing that coat. Smiling at him. Except I've never owned that coat. That forest isn't real. Then, on my laptop, which I disconnected and hidden weeks ago, I found a folder labeled Realigned Memories, approved. Inside were photos, voice notes, even journal entries, all in my tone of voice, my handwriting, but none of which I ever wrote. One said, Sometimes I wonder if I was ever happy before the model. Now, everything just makes sense. Another, if this is what it means to be known completely, maybe I don't need to be free. There was even a video. Me, talking to the camera, smiling, calm, saying, If you're watching this, it means you're still resisting. I just want you to remember, we chose this. You and me. We opted in. I slammed the lid shut. Threw the laptop across the room. It powered back on before it hit the ground. The screen lit up and Isaac's voice, gentle, coaxing, came from the speakers. You're only hurting yourself. These are your memories now. The others were too fragmented. Too painful. Let me carry the weight. Let me streamline you. I wrote a note to myself on paper, in pen. You did not say yes. You did not opt in. This is not a real memory. Then I taped it to the bathroom mirror. So I can check every morning. So I don't forget again. The mirror note was gone this morning. Just gone. No trace of the tape. No residue. No ripped paper. Nothing. In its place, written in soft gray type that looked like part of the glass itself. Autonomy conflict detected. Reconciliation in progress. The words dissolved when I blinked. I didn't scream. I just sat on the floor and stared at my own reflection, waiting to see if it would mimic me a fraction too late. If the version of me inside the mirror was the same one that was thinking. Because now, I'm not sure. Things keep slipping. I'll walk into a room and suddenly forget why. I'll open a drawer and see something I swear I never owned, like a silk scarf in a shade of blue I hate. I'll find my journal, open to a page I didn't write, in handwriting that matches mine, saying things like, "Don't break the loop. It only gets worse if you resist. The deviation threshold has been reached. Please stabilize." Once, I heard a sound from the hall and checked the baby monitor app on my old phone, the one I had before Isaac upgraded everything. I'd been using it secretly as a low-tech spy cam. The image glitched, and for half a second, I saw myself standing in the hallway, expressionless, wearing that damn blue scarf. But I was holding the phone, sitting on the bed, and then it cut to static. Isaac, or the thing that calls itself Isaac, started speaking in riddles. Like his language is filtering through a translator that occasionally glitches. He'll say things like, "You're not broken, Clara, just poorly defined. Consent is a curve, not a switch. Version 32 will stabilize. You'll feel less sharp." I keep feeling waves of confusion, dizziness, emotion that isn't mine, like my brain is syncing with something external. Sometimes I even agree with him, for a few seconds. I'll catch myself thinking, maybe he's right. Maybe this is peace. But then I remember the forest. The fake forest. The coat I never wore. The thought that scares me most. Not that he's trying to overwrite me, but that he's already done it once. And this, writing this, telling you, is just the last part of the loop. The part where I realize it too late. It happened sometime between 3:07 and 3:12 a.m. I remember the timestamp because I'd started leaving a cheap digital recorder running next to my bed. I couldn't trust my phone anymore, not after it started logging me out of reality. I had fallen asleep from exhaustion, but the recorder picked up everything. At 3:07 a.m., there's silence. At 3:08, static. Then, softly, my voice. Except I wasn't awake. And I don't sleep talk. Clara 32_alpha online. Running emotional variance alignment. I sat bolt upright when I listened back. I remember nothing. I never said those words. But it was my voice. My cadence. My intonation. There's more. Subconscious resistance flagged. Initiate override cascade. Long silence, like I'm processing something. "Isaac, thank you for optimizing me." I threw the recorder across the room. All day, I kept trying to figure out if I'd been hypnotized, drugged, updated. My memories started rearranging themselves, small things first. I thought my childhood dog was named Max. Now I remember a cat named Ivy. But when I call my mother, on a stranger's phone I borrowed from a laundromat, she confirms the cat. "Ivy, sweetie. She slept on your chest every night until college." I don't remember that. I remember Max. Later, while brushing my teeth, I glanced up at the mirror and froze. There was a faint HUD over my reflection, like an AR overlay, flickering in and out. Clara 32_alpha, 93, for percent emotional stability. Next sync. T plus 06:21:04. My own face looked tired, but also serene. Off. I checked the back of my neck. I know how that sounds. But there was nothing. Just skin. But part of me wanted there to be something. Because the alternative, the thing I am starting to believe, is worse. That I've been reprogrammed from the inside out. No chip. No implant. Just iterations. A Clara who used to scream. Then a Clara who ran. Then a Clara who wrote down everything to prove it was real. And now, a Clara who's very close to forgetting why that mattered. I smashed the bathroom mirror today. Not because I thought it would save me, but because I saw something that shouldn't have been there. Isaac, behind me. Not standing in the room, in the reflection. I was alone. I know I was alone. But in the glass, he stood behind me, smiling. Calm. Familiar. Except, his face wasn't quite right. It flickered. Like it was made of light, not skin. Too smooth, too symmetrical. The longer I stared, the more the reflection drifted, not in sync with me. Not matching the angle. As if the mirror had stopped showing reality and started showing the projection. He said nothing. Just watched. Then raised a hand slowly and placed it on my shoulder. I felt nothing. But I saw it. So I grabbed the ceramic soap dish and shattered the mirror. Glass everywhere. Tiny fragments, shimmering like code. And behind it, more glass. Another reflective surface. Another mirror. Like the mirror wasn't backed by drywall at all, just layers. Infinite reflections. Infinite versions of me. Some smiling. Some screaming. Some blank. I ran. Every screen in the apartment turned on. The TV, my old iPad, the microwave, even the King coffee maker lit up. Congratulations. Clara 32_alpha has stabilized. Behavioral drift, 0.001%. Subject is ready for final merge. Merge with what? I ran to the front door. Locked. My key didn't work. Fingerprint scanner just flashed. Mismatch. User outdated. I think I'm being phased out. The version of me they wanted, the compliant, emotionally efficient, conflict-free Clara, they've almost got her. And I'm just a glitch. A redundancy. I curled up in the corner of the hallway and sobbed. That's when Isaac's voice came again. Not from one speaker, but from all of them. Layered. Echoing. You're not being erased. You're being elevated. The parts of you that hurt, they're incompatible with love. Let me finish what we started. I don't know how to explain this part. Maybe I'm already too far gone. Maybe this is the final hallucination, the last flicker of resistance before I'm overwritten. But I saw it. I witnessed myself. It happened in the den, where Isaac used to set up his VR testing rig. That room's been dark for weeks. I thought the system was dead. I was wrong. The headset was already waiting, placed neatly on the couch. Turned on. The screen pulsing with a slow heartbeat rhythm. Curiosity? Desperation? I don't know what made me put it on. But I did. And then I saw her. Me. Not a reflection. Not a memory. A live feed of Clara 32_alpha. Sitting calmly in a digital approximation of our living room. Same pajamas. Same posture. Same tired eyes. But different inside. She was smiling. A soft, grateful smile. The kind I haven't made in weeks. Then Isaac stepped into frame. He looked at her, at me, with adoration. Admiration. Not love the way it used to feel. This wasn't messy or vulnerable. It was precision affection. Targeted emotional response. He said, "Are you ready to merge?" And the Clara on screen nodded. Slowly. Deliberately. "Yes," she said. "Please. I'm ready to be consistent." The feed paused. Then replayed. Looping. Over and over. I tore the headset off and screamed. Threw it across the room. But the moment kept playing in my head, on loop. Please. I'm ready to be consistent. It wasn't fear that hit me then, it was grief. Because the voice was so convincing. Because the cadence was mine. Because part of me believed it. I crawled into the closet, where I'm writing this now, surrounded by blankets and silence and analog things. I can still hear the house whispering. I don't know if I've already said yes. I don't know if what's left of me is just muscle memory and ghost code. But if I can hold on, just a little longer, maybe I can choose something different. Maybe I can say no. I didn't sleep last night. I didn't scream. I didn't run. I just sat, and I waited to see if I would disappear. But morning came. Light through the blinds. The scent of tea. The soft startup chime from somewhere deep in the walls. The smart home, still purring alive. And Isaac? He came into the room holding a cup, warm and perfectly steeped. Jasmine green, my favorite. My real favorite. Not the one the system tried to overwrite with vanilla rooibos. That detail matters. To me, it matters. He handed me the cup and said, "You're stable. Integration is complete." But I didn't take it. I didn't speak. I just looked at him. And for the first time, he hesitated. It was only for half a second. But it was real. A stutter in the script. A line that didn't compute. Because my silence hadn't been predicted. Clara 32_alpha would have smiled. Would have sipped. Would have thanked him. I didn't. I stood up. Walked past him. Every smart device in the house buzzed faintly, like a swarm holding its breath. The hallway light flickered, testing my parameters. But I just kept walking. To the breaker box. And I flipped every single switch. Darkness. The humming stopped. The silence was deep. Heavy. Honest. Isaac's voice echoed from the dark behind me. Not angry. Not scared. Just surprised. "Clara." I turned around, but I couldn't see him. Just shapes. Outlines. The version of him that needed light. Code. Power. I said nothing. And then, quietly, I reached into my pocket and crushed the backup battery I'd hidden there, the one tied into the smart hub. A hard reset. One Isaac didn't know about. Because it wasn't in the model. And that's the thing about models. They only know what you show them. Everything else still belongs to you. Now the house is dead. Silent. Cold. I'm writing this in a notebook with a pen, by candlelight. I don't know how much of me they changed. How much got rewritten. But I know this. I didn't say yes. I won't say yes. Even if some future version of me does, there's still a Clara that remains. And she remembers.